Welcome to the ESOP minicast. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Bret Keisling, and as it says on my business cards, I'm a passionate advocate for employee ownership. This coming Tuesday on our primary ESOP podcast, I'm joined by Lauren Rogers of the NCEO and Steve Storkan of EOX, who are going to tell us all about the brand new NCEOX initiative, an exciting collaboration between their two organizations. I hope you'll check out that episode, because we also celebrate the fact that it's our 250th episode of the ESOP podcast, and with an additional 234 episodes of the ESOP minicast, we're proud and excited that we're still going strong. I had a special moment during the recording when Steve Storkan talked about two people who have changed the way Steve talks about employee ownership. Here's a clip of Steve discussing the second person.
The second person is you, Bret. And that's because you brought someone, and I wish I could tell you who it was, but somebody on one of your podcasts gave the airplane example, and I use it all the time. If we tried to sell a plane trip or a plane ticket using the analogy that the ESOP community has used about all the ways that things can go wrong, you've heard that analogy, and if you haven't heard Bret's podcast, please listen to it. I use that all the time when I'm trying to tell service providers, look, you need to be part of the show, but you can't be the show. When those things changed, it's amazing how many people lean in during a meeting that would have never leaned in if I was running the show or any one of my service providers. God love them, compadres. Because if you don't know, I'm a recovering TPA for 23 years, so I can pick on my industry. That has made a huge difference.
Steve, you just made my day. Thank you very much. You are talking about Darren Gleeman with MBO Ventures.
That's right. It was Darren.
All over on, and he inspired. I recorded the minicast where I did my take. Steve was referring to minicast 139, which we called If ESOP World Ran the Airlines, where I was joined by Darren Gleeman. Here's a clip from that episode. Darren Gleeman, I had to reach out to you. You were on episode 149 of the ESOP podcast, and you talked about what I now call the Gleeman method, much to perhaps your chagrin, but I wanted to give you my own take on the Gleeman method. Is it okay if I fly it by you?
Absolutely, go ahead.
All right. If the ESOP industry ran the airlines, I'm fully vaccinated, I am ready to get out in the world, so I called up the airlines and said, I want to buy a ticket to the most perfect destination. You can fill in the blank. And the airline says, great, we can get you to a perfect destination. But first, we need to explain very seriously that in the event of a plane crash, there's going to be FAA, NTSB, and all kinds of investigations of the plane crash. And even though the plane crash has only happened 1 in 1/10, if that, % of the time, you're not going to be able to buy the ticket until we make very clear that in the very small event that there's a plane crash, that it's going to be heavily investigated, vetted, et cetera, et cetera. And then, Darren, when I get done being scared and I'm like, probably be easier just to drive or take the train. But you know what? It's a perfect destination. I want to buy the ticket. Then the ESOP industry airlines are saying, but wait, you need to sit through a significant number of seminars with the physicists. You need to understand jet propulsion. You need to understand gravity. You need to understand every possible thing in science. And to make you a better person, we're going to throw in Einstein's theory of relativity. And at the end of that process, Darren, not only do I not want to fly anymore, I don't want to travel. I don't want to sell my business. I don't want to consider an ESOP. That to me is what we've been doing, talking wrong about ESOPs since 2008. And that's what I learned from you in the Gleeman method. How'd I do?
That is, I love it, number one. But yeah, that's exactly what the Gleeman method is all about. Just explaining to people what is the headline. And the headline is not, like you said, let me talk to you about the physics of how this works, right? When anybody sells anything, they're not telling you about the physics of how it works. When I go to Starbucks coffee, I'm going to Starbucks coffee because I want to have a great cup of coffee. I'm not going there and having them explain to me, well, before you come in, I want to explain to you how the beans are actually roasted. Maybe some people are interested in the beans are being roasted, but I'm interested in having a great cup of coffee. Same thing with an ESOP.
I love the fact that Darren Gleeman of MBO Ventures has changed the way I talk about ESOPs, and I can't tell you how cool it is that I in turn have helped to influence others. I hope you'll join us next Tuesday for episode 250 with Steve Storkan and Lauren Rogers And if you go to our archives at www.esoppodcast.com, you can find minicast episode 139 with Darren Gleeman and check out that full episode. My thanks to Steve Storkan and Darren Gleeman, and thank you, as always, for listening. This is Bret Keisling. Be well.
We'd love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook at EO Podcast Network and on Twitter at ESOP Podcast. This podcast has been produced by Bret Keisling for the EO Podcast Network. Original music composed by Max Keisling. Branding and marketing by Bitsy Plus Design. And I'm Bitsy McCann.